Welcome to the Certified White Hat Hacker course. Let us get to the introduction. So, what is hacking? Hacking is about understanding how exactly a system works and thinking beyond the limitations and making the system work differently than usual. So, what are the different types of hackers? Let's see the first one, which is the white hat hacker. A white hat hacker always uses his skills only for legal testing and for research. What about a black hat hacker? A black hat hacker uses his talents for malicious purposes, and usually he has his own personal agenda and his own personal greed behind it. So there are white hats and black hats, and there are some people called grey hats who are in between. Grey hats do not actually worry about legality when they are finding or exploiting and reporting vulnerabilities, but they do not use their skills for bad purposes. Suppose they find a vulnerability, they might not go through the proper channels to release it, they will just release it publicly. So that might be a grey hat hacker. But he does not use the vulnerabilities he found for his own purposes. So what are the skills needed to become a hacker? The first and most important skill is out-of-the-box thinking. Usually people tend to think within their limitations, but when you're doing hacking, you have to think beyond whatever you have learnt. And even in this course, whatever you have learnt here is only the basics, and you have to expand your knowledge outside the box. And one more thing that is needed is you have to learn computing basics, and you have to have a very good understanding of system and network architectures, and learn to use Linux as your main operating system because it's free and it's customizable to the fullest extent. And you have to learn programming logic properly. And one more thing that's very important is, doesn't matter what programming language you learn, but whatever programming language you choose, you should become a master in it. So how does a typical attack work? A typical attack is about 4 steps. The first one is identifying who the target is. Suppose there's a target, you have to know the details about them, who they are, where they're located, everything. And then the next step is finding the maximum information about the target. That is, who owns the website, take for example, and who is the person who's maintaining it, what are they running inside it, etc. And the next one is finding a vulnerability. And then after you find a vulnerability, exploiting it. So that is how a typical attack scenario works. So what are the types of attacks? There are lots of types of attacks when it comes to hacking, but the few basic ones are buffer overflows, denial of service, social engineering, brute force attacks, website hacking, sniffing and man-in-the-middle attack, and malware. So we will be covering all these basic types of attacks throughout this course.